Have you ever wished you had more confidence in choosing colors in your polymer clay, jewelry, and other crafting designs? If so, today I have a review of a fantastic book for you that I think will be so helpful. Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another Friday Findings video at keepsakecrafts.net. So this book is one that I got, a couple years ago, and I absolutely love it. It's called Polymer Clay Color Inspirations, Techniques and Jewelry Projects for Creating Successful Palettes. Maggie, Maggio, and Lindly Haunani, Lindly, co-authored it, and it is a fantastic book, not just for the polymer clay artist, but anyone who wants to learn a bit more about color will benefit. But the exercises and the techniques are very specifically about polymer clay. Absolutely gorgeous photos inside, and they talk a lot about polymer clay and color specifically, just how light works with polymer clay. It works differently with clay than it does with other media. And one thing I love about this book is the very detailed and specific guidance you get for creating all different sorts of tools to help you with your polymer clay color, like understanding what colors mix together and how they bake up, and they show you exactly how to do these. If you follow their directions carefully, you can't fail but have yourself a bunch of really helpful items to add to your stash. They talk about basics like blends and rainbow blends and using a pasta machine, and absolutely gorgeous, inspiring photos. I mean, that thing is just, it's on the cover. I'm just in awe when I look at something like this. Understanding the properties of color. And of course, no color book would be complete without a color wheel, but they also kind of approach it in different ways. And so they show you how to make these little tiles, and then also another tool they show you how to make, or pivot tiles is what they call them, where you take a couple colors and mix them, and black and white, and again, very specific formulations so that you know exactly what you're getting. It's a wonderful reference because you can write on the back what colors you used, and if you have the book, you'll know exactly how much black or white was added to each one. You can probably tell the rows that have the white and the rows that have the gray. It's really very, very useful if the way you work in clay you want to have particular colors. So the book is definitely not about projects, but you do end up with a few projects. Like this is a strand of what's kind of like faux African trade beads. I have these here that I made, which I've yet to do something with. I just kind of enjoy looking at them because I love the way they came out. But you sort of use the things that you learn in making some of these exercises and tools to make beads and other things. And again, their directions, if you just follow them step by step. One of my favorite things in this book is this chapter, Finding Your Inspirational Colors. And they lead you through the steps of making collages. These are collages that I made and I laminated because I actually do use these. I would say of all of them, this is probably the second most used tool in the book, if not the most. I'm not sure. But they tell you just what to do to work through to make collages of colors you love. And also, I went on and put together collages of colors that aren't my favorites, like browns. Or here's a triadic combination, which I didn't laminate because I'm not really a big fan of red, yellow, blue combinations. But that one makes me drool. And they go on to show you how to do more with them, like with this little viewfinder to choose specific colors, and just using this to choose colors for your clay. I've found this really helpful. And again, they give you such great detailed directions that you follow them and you will have those terrific tools and know how to use them. This is a fun project. It's been so long I don't entirely remember what we were learning in this, but I certainly loved the results. Oh, hello, book. Oops. The pinched beads, which is also on the cover. And of course, you see me doing blue, purple, green in most everything because these are some of my favorite colors. I've got to do something with these. I had to dig around in my craft room to find them. They were hanging on a hook, hidden. But so this is not just a color exercise, but it's also a project. So although the book is not project-based, you do end up with some cool things if you work through the exercises. They'll spotlight different artists like Kathleen Dustin and talk about their work and point out the different ways that these artists use the color principles they're talking about. Like this is the Bargello chapter. I'm not 100% thrilled with the way my Bargello came out. In fact, I think this was the last project I made in the book. When they started talking about mud, they sort of lost me. And it's to my shame that I didn't continue on. And I really think I need to revisit, start back at the beginning, look at the things I made, and then pick up and try to understand the things I didn't, because, of course, that's the point of working through a book like this. That's what I call it, working through a book, where you just start at the front cover and work your way through to the back, doing all of the exercises. Whenever they say, you know, do this, I do it. Even if somewhere my brain is saying, oh no, that's silly, or oh, I already know that, I just go ahead and do it. And I recommend doing that. It's just one way that I learn really well. Yeah, I haven't gotten to these exercises. The second tool that I use most often, though, are these. They have just the coolest way of making blends from one color to another. So this is, let's see if I can read it. Blue Pearl with 50% white, and this is Lemonade with 50% white. And then I made a blend. Aren't these yummy? I just love having these on my table. I rarely work this way where I need a very specific color, but if I do, these blends will show me exactly how to mix that color. It's, you know, if I say I want that one, I can refer possibly back to the book and know that I am going, if I mix these two colors in this proportion, I'm going to end up with that exact color. Baked too, which is handy. And so these are just some different ones that I was playing with. Aren't they fun? And it's really, I really enjoyed doing it. And then, so there's this, and then there's these. Oh, and this one. Pretty. Of course, these beads could absolutely be a project all on their own, but I really enjoy using them just as a tool. They call these color scales, and they call these color triangles, and this is really kind of fun. There's actually 3 colors here. Let's see if we can get them in the right order. So there's the pink, the blue, and the yellow that I started with. And then they give you a very specific way of doing it. There's even a chart in the book, which I took and laminated, I think per their suggestion, to keep everything in order as you make blends like these. And so you can see how you can take these 3 colors and mix them together, and you end up with all these in-betweens. I'll tell you one thing that I do have a tough time with is if I'm trying to mix a particular shade of olive or brown, it can be tough. So these are really helpful. These and the little pivot charts. You've got those olives and browns. And just the color theory behind them. What different colors do when they're next to each other. How to create flow and movement. Now, I've always thought that color was kind of one of my strong points in my creative life. And yet I learned so much from this, and I know if I finish going through it, I will learn even more. So I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic, beautiful book just to look at, but I hope that you'll pick it up for yourself and also work through the exercises and learn and grow in your creativity thereby. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it helpful. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and take a look at my Patreon page if you would like to get even more of these types of tutorials every month. Happy creating. Bye-bye.